Welcome to Attic Raiders Retro Reviews, where today we're going to be getting in gear and trying not to get in a spin or lose our marbles. Join us as we take a look at Contraption. Contraption was released here in the UK by Action GT in 1981 and is a two-player game for ages 5 and up. It's a game of skill, luck and split-second timing, where you're going to be trying to get your balls through a mechanised motorised maze and into your home gear in order to win the game. Like a lot of Action GT's games, the box doesn't really feature an awful lot in the way of artwork, but instead features the game slap bang on the front so you can see exactly what you're getting here. And as you can see, as it's mechanical, as it's motorised, this is a game that's going to take batteries, which might put some of you off, and we'll definitely see why that's a bit of a hindrance later on. We've got marbles and moving parts, but how does it stack up as a game? Well, let's take a closer look and find out. The game comes with 2 yellow plastic gate control paddles, 2 yellow plastic ball release spinners, 14 marbles, 7 red and 7 white. Now these marbles are replacements, these are not the original marbles. I think the original ones were probably made of plastic, but every copy of this game that I've found, they've been missing, so I just bought some replacements. And the motorised game unit itself, it's a nice thick blue plastic here. It's really nicely constructed with some yellow cogs and gears in the middle and a big chunky on-off switch. You can see that even though this is the GT Action release from the UK, it's got Lakeside, the original American release, on the sticker here. They didn't bother to change that. Even though on the Action GT box, that Lakeside text is completely missing from the sticker. Our on-off switch is slightly unusual in this game in that in order to switch it on, you have to pull it up, and in order to switch the game off, you press it down, which is slightly counterintuitive. We've also got the marble holder here, which we will use at the very end of the game. We've got the runs for our marbles here. And this whole thing is motorised, it's battery operated. So on the back here, you can see we have got this panel which opens up for our batteries to go into. And this is going to take 2 D-size batteries. I've just undone this screw so that I can open this up and show you inside, and as you can see, it's a very simple mechanism. We've just got 2 battery terminals here with a wire from this terminal and from this terminal to a motor which drives a worm screw which then turns this gear, which turns all of the big yellow gears in the game. So it's very simple. You can see this wire doesn't really have anything holding it in place, so it does tend to snap or go missing. And this one over here, this battery terminal, it's not actually soldered at all, it's just the wire is looped around this piece of metal. So again, this tends to come off, or it tends to wear down on this piece of metal here where it's been bent and snap. So you will possibly have to repair this with some new metal terminals. You can see the on-off switch simply moves this piece of battery terminal here. And so when your battery is in, it connects to it or not. And that's all that's making this game actually work. Given that it's over 40 years old, you will probably find that the elastic bands which hold the gate controls in place here have perished and snapped, so you'll have to replace them. In order to do that, we take the gate control, push it into this space here, and then on the bottom, we take our elastic band, we loop it over this hook here, and then stretch it across to this peg here, and that's it. That just gives a bit of resistance when we press down on this gate control button here, and as you can see on this section here, that just opens and closes the gate. both the batteries installed and both of the gate controls in place, then we just need to take the ball release spinners and they're going to clip in place here and here. Now unfortunately you do have to keep taking these out in order to get it back into the box, because otherwise it just is too high and it doesn't fit. Making sure that our marble gate is turned so that it is closed, we are then going to put in our marbles, white in one side and red in the other. Now I've put 6 marbles into each side, but you can play with as many as you want. The game suggests that skill level 1 is playing with and capturing 3 marbles, skill level 2 is playing with and capturing 4 marbles, skill level 3 is playing with and capturing 5 marbles, or skill level 4 you play with 7 marbles and try to capture 6 of them. So you can make it as easy or as difficult as you want. To play then, you're going to switch on the game by pulling this up, and then both players are going to release their marbles into the gears at the same time by turning these gates. The white player then will try to get all of their white marbles into their home gear here by pressing this gate control down, opening and closing this gate and allowing the marbles through into this one. And the red player is going to do the same, trying to get their red marbles into this red home here by opening and closing this gate here with their gate control button. Of course, you've got to be quick and careful doing this, because if you press your gate release at the wrong time, you'll allow some of the marbles that you've collected back out into here. And the first player to get all of their marbles into their home gear is the winner. And I've deliberately explained all of that without switching this on because it's rather noisy and it would be difficult to hear what you have to do over the top of this machine. But now that you know, let's switch it on and see how it goes. Eventually, and depending on what skill level you're playing at, this is going to take quite a long time, but somebody will end up with all of their balls in their home gear and they will win the game and will be finished. At that point, when you want to clear up, it's hard to get the balls out. In fact, you can't get them out of these home gears at all. So what we do is we flip open this hatch on the ball collection unit, press down our gates to make sure that they are fully open, open it up, and the machine empties itself out, ready to play again. As you can see, this is a dead simple to learn game. You can explain it really easily, and there's not much to the actual gameplay. You're just hitting a button in order to try and get your balls. It is quite a tricky game though. And it feels a lot like Hungry Hippos, with continually pressing that button in order to try and get your own marbles, so it does have that kind of nostalgia appeal. What with Hungry Hippos being one of the greats. This of course is more involved because you've got batteries, you've got a motor, and you've got those gears turning round and round, changing things all about. And of course, because it's battery operated, you're going to have to make sure you take those batteries out between games so that they don't leak or corrode. And you've got the danger of picking up a copy of this game where the motor doesn't work. The other problem with this is because it's motorized, it is a noisy game. Now, through video editing, I've actually turned down the volume of the motors throughout all of this video so far, but I'm going to show you what it actually sounds like without the volume turned down. So get ready, what you're hearing, if you're listening to this on headphones, prepare yourself. Ready? Here we go. So I can have normal conversations during most games, but when I switch this on, I'm now going to have to start shouting in order to be able to be heard by the other person, because this is really quite loud. It's not not a fun sound, and it's not one that's going to ingratiate you with the rest of your family or with gamers at a board game cafe. The other problem with this is the mechanism works really well most of the time, but the marbles can get jammed, and in fact do get jammed quite frequently. Now that's because there is a slot on one of the cogs. These two large cogs have a slot which is supposed to be able to hold 2 marbles at once, but sometimes 3 marbles go into that, and when that happens it completely jams. Now, it's entirely possible that I've got the wrong size marbles because I've completely replaced all of the marbles in this game because I didn't have any in the game when I got this. But I don't think so, because they have to be exactly 14mm or smaller in order to fit through these gaps here. And so the only way I would think that they would stop from being jammed is if they were larger. But if they're larger, they're not going to fit through there. So I don't think that's actually the problem. I think it just is a flaw in the game. Something else that's, well, maybe not a flaw, but it is rather annoying, is you can get into positions in this game where your goal cog is almost completely full, but you just can't get your last marble in there, because whenever your last marble runs round to your gear, your finished home gear, the space is not there, and that happens every single time because of the circular nature of these gear systems. It's really annoying, so you're going to have to actually deliberately release some of your balls from your home gear back into the system in order to free up spaces to try and get them all in there. It's rather frustrating. Of course, there are 4 different skill levels that you can play this on, and with the lower skill levels where you're playing with less balls, it's a lot easier. But when you're playing with the maximum number of balls, trying to get a full 6 balls into your home gear, it's really hard. Would I recommend this game? Well, it's an interesting novelty. It's certainly worth playing just for the experience of playing it, but I don't know if I'd want to play it very often. I'd want to be able to say I've played it, but once I've played it, I'm pretty much done with it, I think. It is an interesting game though. It's got a really nice mechanic, and I do like Action GT stuff. But what do you think? Have you played this game before? If you have, what are your thoughts? You can leave a comment down below. While you're at it, please remember to like and subscribe. We'll have plenty more vintage games for you next time on Attic Raiders Retro Reviews.